What does this day bring, Ata?
Sun all day.
Actually, my app says it's going to rain at noon.
Sun.
Rain!
Sun!
Rain!
Listen, I am going to buy my own boat. Who is with me? Give me my fish.
Hey, you! Down here in the bucket.
Me?
Do you see another old man looking at me?
Stop talking and go back to being a fish.
Come and dead me.
I will.
If I jump out of this bucket, I will slap you with my fin. Slap, slap, slap. You have to stroke it, then poke it.
You want to join?
Yes.
Do I get a wish?
No.
You just talk.
I'm sorry. Is that not, like, cool enough for you?
He would like to apply for a loan.
We can only consider a 3-year payback plan.
You think I will die in 3 years?
No.
Oh, she paused.
Papa.
That fish is very rare. How much?
Priceless.
I need a message first.
The message is, eat me.
We are screwed. Trust me, gambling is like swimming. It's in my DNA.
Where is school?
I miss his Jesus fish.
One thing about being Olu is we always value the ones we love.
Wow. So, one trip to Accra, and the man has become a poet.
Shut up.
From Oscar-worthy transformations in the boxing ring to superhero injuries and accents and a major financial institution betting big on Ghanaian filmmakers, we are covering the entire spectrum of global cinema today. Welcome to the Film Mandate. And in the very first story, Oscar buzz is building for Dwayne Johnson's character as Mark Kerr in The Smashing Machine. And also Channing Tatum has made known his injuries on the set and shooting of Avengers Doomsday, and also making known that the Russo brothers are going more for a dramatic take rather than a full-blown out Deadpool and Wolverine gambit. And last but not the least, Societe Generale has announced the third edition of Attention. We'll be covering all these stories and more right here on the Film Mandate. My name is Papa Otu. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Film Mandate, where I bring to you movie news, reviews, and reactions, both from the African front and the international scene. So just as you saw, I played a trailer to the movie The Fisherman, which stars Ricky Adelaita, Endurance Grant, Kiki Romi, William Lamte, Ajua Akoto, and a whole host of other actors, including the legendary Fred Amugi. And this is a Ghanaian film directed by American director Zoe Martinson, and it's going to be screening in the cinemas on the 19th. That is, if you're in Ghana, it will be screening in the cinemas on the 19th of September, so barely 2 weeks from now. And I happen to be part of the production, and I was the second AD, so I'm trying to lend my support to the movie to make known what we have been able to craft. And it's a very interesting story indeed. Don't just hear what I'm saying and go and watch it. Just go and watch it yourself and attest to how interesting and funny it is. So there you have it, The Fisherman, which will be shown at the Silverbird Cinemas in Ghana, both at the Accra Mall and as well as the West Hills Mall. So it will be an exciting event, and I'll be glad to have you all go into the cinemas and watch it. So moving on, in our very first story today, we'll be talking about an interesting development that has a lot of people at Venice buzzing, concerning the stellar performance of one of, wrestlers' phenomenal personalities, that is The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, who transitioned into movie and has done so over the years. And for the very first time it looks like, I mean, for the very first time, towering over every other productions, acting that he has done in any production so far, there stands out to be the very obvious one that there are a lot of Oscar bars, building up for this particular role. And I'm talking about none other than the Smashing Machine, where he stars as the real life Mark Kerr, who happened to be a UFC fighter back in the day. So let's take a look at a brief article published in the Associated Press, which highlights the story of his transformation as Mark Kerr. So the story says that Oscar buzz builds for Dwayne Johnson's for Dwayne Johnson's role as Mark Kerr in the Smashing Machine. And there you have Dwayne Johnson in his dapper suit at the premiere of the Smashing Machine, which happened to have premiered just on the 1st of September, not too long ago, about 2 days or a day from today. That was yesterday. Yeah, so this is written by Lindsay Barr, and it says that Venice, Italy. Dwayne Johnson takes a serious turn as UFC fighter Mark Kerr in the Smashing Machine, which had its world premiere today on Monday at the Venice Film Festival. For a long time wanted this, Johnson said before the premiere. The transformation part was something I was really hungry to do. I've been very fortunate to have the career that I've had and make the films that I have. But there was just this voice inside of me, this little voice, like, what if I can do more? The actor best known for the big budget action movies and comedies is already sparking Oscar buzz for his transformation in the film from Benny Safdie. The festival has launched several recent Best Actor Oscar winners, from Brendan Fraser in The Whale to Adrian Brody in The Brutalist. Like both of those films, The Smashing Machine is being released by A24. The box office is our business is very loud. In our business is very loud, Johnson said, and it can push you into a category and into a corner. This is your lane. This is what you do. This is what people want you to be in, and this is what Hollywood wants you to be. And I understood that. And I made those movies, and I liked them, and they were fun. And some were really good and did well, and some not so good. But he felt like he had more to give, not to prove something to Hollywood, but to himself. The push to take on a new challenge came in part from his co-star and friend, Emily Blunt, who he worked with in Jungle Cruise and who encouraged him to draw on everything he'd gone through in life and put it into his work. When you've been pigeonholed into something, it's hard to know, wait, can I do that? He said, sometimes it takes people you know and love, like Emily and Benny, to say you can. Johnson was joined in Venice not only by Safdie and Blunt, but also the man he's portraying in the film. Kerr is a two-time UFC heavyweight tournament winner and MMA fighter who retired in 2009. Known as the Smashing Machine, Kerr also struggled with addiction to painkillers and opioids, overdosing twice. Before Johnson was best known as the star of franchises like Jumanji and the Fast and Furious series, as well as producer and business owner, he made his name in wrestling. A third-generation wrestler, he won 8 WWE championships. I loved wrestling and I had such a great time, but it's very bombastic, Johnson said. He remembered meeting Kerr in the late 1990s and said how much he looked up to him. This film, he said, feels like a full circle moment. The Smashing Machine takes place between the years 1997 and 2000, a tumultuous time in both Kerr's professional and personal life. His relationship with then-girlfriend Dawn Staples was particularly volatile. Blunt got to know and spend time with her counterparts as well. She said she was excited to show the full weather system of a relationship. I've been part of a lot of relationships and that are essential, more curated to a movie-filled relationship. Blunt said, this felt like the full spectrum of what a relationship really looks like, because humans change within the hour. I think we got to show that. She said it was extraordinary and a little spooky to see Johnson fully disappear into this role. The prosthetics were designed by master makeup artist Kazuhiro, who helped Bradley Cooper turn into Leonard Bernstein and Gary Oldman into Winston Churchill. Venice's artistic director, Alberto Barbera, said last week he wouldn't be surprised to see Johnson, who he called absolutely amazing, the film, and Blunt among the Oscar nominees next year. I've been scared to go deep and go intense and go raw until now, until I've had this opportunity, Johnson said. Both Johnson and Safdie said that Kerr had changed their lives. It's such a beautiful thing to shine a light on him and learn from his experiences, Safdie said. Safdie is also an actor who recently appeared in Oppenheimer and Happy Gilmore 2, and filmmaker who, along with his brother George, co-directed Uncut Gems. So in his director's statement, the Smashing Machine Safdie called the title a perfect onomatopoeia for something visceral, conjuring images of domination and destruction with ease. The film is playing in the main competition with titles like Frankenstein, Begonia, and The Voice of Hind Rajab, La Grazia, and No Other Choice, also vying for the top prizes, including acting and directing awards. The Smashing Machine will open in North American theaters on October 3rd. So, wow, that is quite an interesting development we have here. And I must say, wow, I mean, I think it seems timely, just as Dwayne Johnson himself has reiterated, and that he wants to go deeper into the scope of acting that he's been doing over the years. And I could understand where he was saying that when audiences tend to like a particular role that you dabble in, there is also the very tendency for studio executives, particularly when they realize that those films are raking in a lot of money, to sort of stereotype you, just as he says, pigeonhole you into a particular role that it gets difficult to break out from, because that also pays the bills, I must say. So with regards to that, it makes you as an actor to focus on particular roles and not wanting to break out, particularly when you are very successful in those areas. And also to delve into certain deep characters, like, as other actors would perhaps go by method acting, it can be quite scary, because then you have to don a new persona with a different mindset during the period of time that you are either preparing to do the production or whilst doing the production. It can get quite scary, to the extent that after even the production, that persona can be with you for years if you don't, go to therapy to sort of deal with whatever mindset you went into it, to reverse you back to yourself. So it's understandable, and it can be very, very daunting and quite scary. And I could understand why Dwayne Johnson wanted to, aside all the successes he achieved, and the directors and Hollywood and audiences wanting him to, play some kind of roles. And I think he's paid his dues for that. And I'm glad he's sort of stepping out of that stereotypical roles that he's been playing for a long time. But aside that, even prior to this film, he's done some excellent performances in some movies that will blow your mind. I mean, Snitch is one, Faster is another movie, Pain and Gain is amazing. Pain and Gain is so amazing. It's very different from the roles that he's played. And I think with such talents that he's displayed, it is of no surprise, since I haven't seen the film, but it is of no surprise that at the Venice Film Festival, the whole film, after it was premiered, it received a 15.5 standing ovation. Well, it's something that you always hear that Venice audiences do when they enjoy a movie. as to whether that would translate to, translate well with the general audiences worldwide. That is left to be seen. But it looks like all the buzz concerning this seems very positive, particularly with Dwayne Johnson, who is one of the, when it comes to work ethics with his movies, he doesn't joke about it. And I think it is quite timely for him to perhaps receive the honor that he deserves as an actor. Yes, he's starred in several movies that may not have garnered well, but he's built experiences over the years, which I think it is worthy for him to delve into this particular role. And it being a biopic of a sort of a real life individual who happens to be an inspiration to himself whilst he was a wrestler, it is quite a full circle moment, just as he said for himself, to be playing him. And amazingly, Mark Kerr also was there at the event during the premiere, and it's such an amazing time. If you see excerpts of the footages when they were done and they were being, praised or congratulated, you could see the emotions and, the love, pouring from both Dwayne Johnson and, Emily Blunt and Safdie to Mark Kerr. It's such an amazing moment in time at Venice. I wish I was there to, behold the moment myself with my own eyes, but it was so wonderful. And that's something that I think it speaks much to the respect the crew all have for, Mark Kerr, who have gone through his own, mountainous or challenging moments. And it's been quite a challenge for him, seeing that he's gone through all this. And it is quite surprising. I mean, to have that strength to see your life being played back to you on the screen, I think that will be something else that I don't know whether as an individual I can even deal with that. But that shows to the strength Mark Kerr has as an individual, as a person. And it is indeed amazing. And Johnson, just as I've said, is hailed to be, a revelation. It looks like he pulled up a performance. Even if you watch the trailers, there's the sneak peeks of his performances is amazing, particularly with the transformation, which was done by Hajiru. I'm missing out on the name, but there's the same individual who transformed Gary Oldman into Winston Churchill with his prosthetics and all. And I think Jim Carrey in Grinch, how Grinch Stole Christmas or something, that movie. So the transformation was something else. If you take a look at Mark Kerr himself, and you place a picture of him together with Johnson in that transformation, it's quite surreal. And I think that is something wonderful they did with this production, for Dwayne not just to physically be transformed into Mark Kerr, but psychologically he went deep into being who he was. And if you read other articles, for those who have watched it, they are saying that this can be compared almost like a cousin to the wrestler which starred Mickey Rourke. And Mickey Rourke was, I think he did win an Oscar for that, if I'm not mistaken, a 2009 production. Yes, I'm not so certain, but yeah, I think in the early 2000s, 2006, thereabout, and they are liking that this particular film, which is a UFC mixed martial arts film, to that of the wrestler. So it means that this film indeed has high praise for that reason. But aside that, it has so far it has about 19 critics reviewing it, and it's been given an 88% tomato rating and Rotten Tomato scores, and that is quite amazing. That is quite amazing, and it looks like across board, everybody agrees that the performance of Emily Blunt and particularly Dwayne Johnson is amazing, portraying Mark Kerr as the UFC fighter in his time. So that is something powerful to have been seen by the critics themselves, and it is quite amazing. So yeah, I think that Kazuhiro was the one who helped with the transformation, the physical transformation. So it is quite an amazing performance by Dwayne Johnson and being hailed by all those who went there to see his performance. And the fascinating aspect is that A24 is the one producing this film. And there's something about A24. A24 films now seems to be a genre on its own, just as Robert Meyer Burnett would say, that they have become like a genre on their own. Every film they have done with regards to even the way they edit their trailers, it's amazing. And every film of theirs have a different flavor and uniqueness to it that it feels more art house, but also has a commercial edge to it. So there's a clear balance to it, but you can feel the art house vibe to it. And over the years, they've been successful with one movie after the other, after the other. And the one that both films that won awards for, what's it called, Brendan Fraser and that of Adrian Brody were all A24 films. That is, you're talking about The Whale for Brendan Fraser, and you're talking about The Brutalist for Adrian Brody. So it's of no surprise that this seems to be on the same trajectory as those two films. And to have the director also, this Benny Safdie, this is his spare solo outing. I think previously he directed a film with his brother Josh on the Uncut Gems that starred Adam Sandler, and that movie alone is very gripping, very edgy and gripping, but this went extra. And this actually is a distinct voice for Benny Safdie for going solo on this particular project alone. So it is quite interesting. And now the question we all have to ask for is that, can Dwayne Johnson's dramatic transformation and performance indeed garner him a nomination, let alone an Oscar win? Well, let me know your thoughts by leaving it in the comment section below. Yeah, so moving on from the smashing machine, we now move into another story, and this is a new segment I'm coming up with, seeing that a lot of a lot of countries are now, selecting certain films to participate in the best international feature film for the Oscars. I thought I would create a new segment called the Oscar Minute. So yesterday I did report on a story called No Other Choice from South Korea, and a film made by Park Chan-wook and starring Lee Byung-hun. And it's been said that it's even better than Parasite, which itself also won an Oscar some time back. Well, it looks like South Korea have made up their mind, and they have chosen the film to represent the country in the Oscars. And I just want to read this briefly so that we know what we are talking about. So South Korea selects Park Chan-wook's No Other Choice for Oscars. South Korea has submitted Park Chan-wook's black comedy thriller No Other Choice as its entry for Best International Feature at the 2026 Oscars. The decision was announced by the Korean Film Council and selected by a jury chaired by Parasite producer Kwak Sin-ai, who said it stands out for its astounding quality and the actors' performances, and it has a high level of completeness, along with a global recognized director and a distributor with the Academy Award experience. It marks the second time director Park has represented South Korea following 2022's decision to leave, which made the shortlist. So Nyeon represents North American on the title. So it is indeed quite amazing to even have the Parasite producer to have made an announcement, and I think that is quite a high bar, a high praise for the production. So yeah, this happens to be the Oscar Minute on the Film Mandate. So what I'll be doing with this segment is that I've seen some previous selections that have been done. I'll take my time to announce them daily on this platform, and then when new ones come about for just the best international feature I will make those announcements building to the Oscar moment itself. And when we get to the Oscar moment itself, I'll also make announcements of all the nominations that will be made available that day. So thank you so much for, enjoying this particular segment. So moving on to continue with the very stories that we have. It was not long ago that we discovered that Avengers Doomsday has begun filming with its varying issues cropping up from the set. Some of them are not verified, but there were rumors or perhaps very possibly confirmed rumors that there was a little, squabble on the set and all that, which, well, I don't know much about it, so I wouldn't want to delve into those rumors because I think it's not so relevant compared to the production itself. However, Channing Tatum, who is reprising his role as Gambit, had an interview and he made known certain developments with him as an individual. Unfortunately, he's hurt himself as a result of some of the stunts that he was engaged in, and therefore it's sort of limited what he can do on the set. However, for his close-ups and others, yes, he's the one that sits in, and gets it done. Well, in an article published in Variety, this is what he had to say. Channing Tatum reveals Avengers Doomsday injury, says Gambit is not gonna go fully Cajun accent. Russo brothers want to keep the drama and not be fully Deadpool. And it's written by Zach Schaff. And that is Channing Tatum as Deadpool, this picture on in the movie, what's it called? Deadpool and Wolverine. So Channing Tatum revealed in a new Variety cover story that Gambit will be somewhat softening his Cajun accent in Avengers Doomsday, which is now in production. Tatum debuted as the Marvel superhero in last year's Deadpool and Wolverine after spending years trying and failing to get a standalone Gambit movie made under 20th Century Fox. A running joke in Deadpool and Wolverine is that nobody can understand Gambit's thick Cajun accent. Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool quips at one point, who's your dialect coach? The Minions? It appears Gambit will be easier to understand in Avengers Doomsday, which sees Tatum back to face off against Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom alongside Florence Pugh, Pedro Pascal, Chris Hemsworth, and various other Marvel actors. Tatum told Variety that studio executives really had to wrap their mind around the accent and how people are going to understand him as Gambit moves forward in the MCU beyond Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm not going to go full Cajun, Tatum said. Directors Anthony and Joe Russo want things to be funny, but they don't want to go full Deadpool. They want to keep the drama and keep it tight. When Gambit gets serious, when he drops the Mardi Gras mask, things do matter. Tatum previously told Access Hollywood that his Gambit accent in Deadpool and Wolverine was intentional, explaining there was very little improv. The Cajun dialect is a very particular one. I grew up in Mississippi and my dad is from New Orleans, so it's one of those things that I grew up around it, but I've never done it. There are certain little isms that are very Cajun-y, but we actually intended it to be somewhat unintelligible. And that was sort of the joke. Yeah, so he goes on to explain further all how he ended up crafting it and how Ryan Reynolds enjoyed all that. So yeah, it's quite exciting when one of the most anticipated films of 2026, you get to hear developments, coming in from that camp. Currently, as we know, Avengers Doomsday is filming, and it looks like they are nowhere done wrapping up, and their film will be slated. It's slated actually for December 2026. So I'm sure they were trying to do the best that they can. And for those who watched Deadpool and Wolverine, it was quite an exciting time in the cinemas and now on streaming when you watch it and you realize that all the superheroes that you knew from back in the days, played cameo in this film. And one of the exciting role, which we had heard prior to the Deadpool movie, that he wanted to develop a film, a Gambit film. And unfortunately, it didn't go as planned when Disney acquired 20th Century Fox and had to move things around. But fortunately, with Ryan Reynolds' persistence, he was able to get him back into the Deadpool movie, and one of his performance became one of the highlights of the film, particularly with the Cajun accent, and it was quite. I mean, it was very funny, not just quite funny. One of the major highlights of the film, and he did look the part as Gambit, I must say. If you look at some of the comics, the looks of the comics, it's amazing. Even though prior, I think it's been played by Taylor Kish also in I think Wolverine, Wolverine or Wolverine 2, one of those movies. So yeah, but it looks like he was really born to play the part of Gambit. And then looking at the fact that they are transitioning into the MCU proper, I could understand why the Russo brothers would want to tone it down a little. I don't think they're going to take it out completely, but I'm sure the idea is to make sure that it's much intelligible than what we experienced in the Deadpool and Wolverine. And even in the Deadpool and Wolverine itself, he did play it in various, in various understanding levels. So there were times he would go full Cajun, and there are times that he would tone it down for even as the audience to understand what he's saying, aside Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool, and Wolverine. So it's quite an interesting development that is happening right now. And I think it's great that he grew around the very people that the character itself has its origins from. So the character itself, has its origins from New Orleans. That's how it was developed. And it's interesting and wonderful to have someone with that background to play that role. And it's quite exciting. And I'm happy for him, because that has been one of his life's dream, to be Gambit. And it saddens him now that he's hurt himself. If you read other articles, the full interview, it does speak of the fact that, I mean, he hates growing old, because this has hampered his desire to play his own stunts, And for all those who have watched his films, particularly in Step Up and other, he's quite athletic, quite, nimble. He's able to do very acrobatic stuffs, almost the same as what's it called, Tom Holland, So he wants to do his own stuff, but unfortunately, the injury has caused him the inability to do that. But all the same, I think, and I know for sure that he's excited to be part of this, and he likes playing this role. He likes playing this role, and I know he's very, very happy about it. So unfortunately, we will not have the same comedic, full-blown out comedic tone as we had from him in Deadpool and Wolverine. But yes, it's a little bit tempered down, but we're still going to enjoy the same Gambit, but in a different, in a different way. He went on to speak about other stuff as well, about not wanting to play any more fat roles. A lot of body transformations do have, very, I would say, negative impacts on actors sometimes. We may not be with them, so we may not understand what they are going through, but that can take a toll on them, and I can understand him. He's always had an athletic body, so to put on those massive weights can cause a lot of disruption in his, physique, in his physiology. So I could understand why he wouldn't want to. And yes, it's best to be safe than to, to go all out and harm yourself. And I think that's not the best. And I'm happy for him. My hope is that he gets well soon and be back fully, from the injury. But I'm excited about that, and I think the vision of the Russo brothers with this development that we have seen I'm sure everybody's trying to avoid going down the lane of the Thor, Love and Thunder route. No, but I think it speaks to the fact that the vision they have for the Avengers Doomsday is quite a serious tone, perhaps even more serious and darker than the end game. You know, at least Infinity War, you had a little bit levity, a little in end game, but I think there is more, the stakes are high in this one compared to the ends game. That's what I can speculate with regards to what their approach is, and perhaps that's what's going to have that's what is informing they toning down on the comedic chops of Gambit as a character, as we saw in Deadpool and Wolverine. So it could also mean that the X-Men itself will be much different from the Avengers. Yes, there may be quips here and there, but I don't think their kind of quips will be similar to that of Avengers as we've seen over the years. If anything at all, seeing that you're going to have Jake Schreier, taking over the X-Men franchise, it will be quite similar to that of what we've seen in Thunderbolt. So I think that's perhaps they're trying to make sure it's more cohesive with the vision they have for the X-Men. If perhaps even Channing Tatum gets the opportunity to, reprise his role beyond Avengers Secret War. So I'm sure there's a lot we will be seeing from, next year going, when finally teasers and snippets of the production starts dropping to confirm our suspicions and all that. So let me know what you think with regards to this particular approach they are going with the Gambit role. Is it that they are doing it to differentiate it from what we have seen in the Fox X-Men universe, or something different entirely? Whatever the case may be, kindly drop your thoughts in the comments section down below. Now, moving on from Hollywood, we come to my home country, Ghana, and it is quite exciting when you hear stories of, yesterday I did a story on the Kaduna International Film Festival, where the organizers of this film were supporting young filmmakers to, do films for social change. And all over Africa, particularly in this year, you hear stories of film festivals and funding companies all helping to support the craft of filmmakers, regardless of their age. Well, a major bank in Ghana, Societe Generale, has announced its third edition of an event they call Attention. Previously, it used to be at TVT. Now it's Attention, and they are supporting 25 filmmakers in 5 groups to make films to highlight or stress on the SDGs, the UN SDGs. Well, there is an article published in the My Joy Online website that I would like us to take a brief read at and know what they had to say. So My Joy Online says that the Societe Generale Ghana announces third edition of Attention. And that is I think the CEO. Yeah. So Societe Generale Ghana has launched the third edition of its flagship creative arts program, Attention, in partnership with African Movie Box at the La Foundation for the Arts. The event was attended by executives and staff of SG Ghana, industry experts, and artists. As the bank's flagship creative arts program, Attention has, over the past 2 years, editions evolved to become a powerful platform for the expression of arts and discovery of talents. The managing director of Societe Generale Ghana, Hakeem Uzani, in addressing the audience, announced that the creative program has returned with a renewed focus on supporting emerging Ghanaian filmmakers. With support from our industry partner, African Movie Box, young talents will be given the opportunity to produce their very own short films, telling impactful stories through filmmaking, he announced. Mr. Uzani added, as a bank, we pride ourselves with the values of innovation, sustainability, and responsibility, and we have always believed in the power of art to carry these values powerfully. It is for that reason that we are challenging filmmakers in this year's attention to highlight key social or environmental issues plaguing our society. The Director of Business Development of African Movie Box, Edwin Otta, praised SG Ghana for being one of the first financial institutions to rally strongly behind the creative arts space. Today, we see a lot of other financial institutions supporting the arts, making contributions, which is important, and we applaud them, SG Ghana, for being one of the first institutions to make that initiative to support the industry, he said. The latest iteration of Attention challenges emerging Ghanaian filmmakers to tell impactful stories aligned with the sustainable goals, SDGs. Though through the program, a total of 25 participants making up 5 teams will benefit from training, production, support, and mentorship to support 5 short films. The top 3 of those films will be awarded cash prizes of 50,000, 30,000, and 20,000 Ghana cedis, respectively. Submissions for the competition officially open on Monday, 1st September, and ends on 29th September. So yeah, I must say this is indeed a very welcoming initiative. And I am happy that an institution has found it worthy to lend its support to Ghanaian filmmakers. I'm really excited about that. And when I hear these stories, it then speaks to the fact that there is really hope for the film industries in Ghana and Africa as a whole. Just as I've said, over the period of episodes that I've done, I have reported or I've discussed a number of these initiatives being taken by agencies or bodies all over Africa. I mean, from selective countries, not all over, but some countries have embarked on making sure that they can support their filmmakers to do quality productions to uplift the production value. And I'm happy about this. And I'm glad that I think as an institution for themselves, they like the arts. The Societe Generale, I think it's a French bank situated in Ghana. And most French institutions in general do support the arts. I think some time back, prior to they live in Ghana, I think Novotel is noted for supporting the visual artists, particularly painters, sculptors, photographers, to exhibit within the halls of the hotel. And fortunately, the management that took over, the new company that took over Novotel, which is now Accra Hotel, is still, on that very train. So I applaud them for continuing in that same vein. But Societe Generale, in doing this, is really an exciting opportunity. The key thing is not even the money, the cash prizes. The key thing is that they are providing this opportunity for these young filmmakers to hone their craft. And I'm glad that they are not just there to produce the films, but they are partnering with the African Movie Box, which I believe are experts in filmmaking, to help groom these 25 filmmakers to make the film. And I think it's something welcoming. And my hope is that as they do these films, these short films, it will have that production value and strong story so that it can compete on the international stage, where they can receive the necessary exposure to help them further their craft. So that is really a good thing, I must say. And it being the third, it means that they are really embarking on a quest to ensure that a lot of these filmmakers will get the opportunity to, be part of this program. So for those who may not know about this program, and if you're hearing it for the first time, the Attention program has been officially open from 1st September to the 29th of September. So between this time, you can apply. I think if you want to know more about the requirements, you can go onto the Societe Generale, the SG Bank's website, and look for the requirements or the eligibility to help you apply and be participant of this event. So I think it's something very good. And yeah, I mean, the whole idea is to help, create films for change. Just as I was reporting yesterday, I was talking about yesterday with regards to the Kaduna International Film Festival. There are films, the theme for that event was film for social change. And same is for this particular program, which is to focus on creating films that align with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And I think it is actually something worth pursuing in that vein. So yeah, that is something good. I think it is to help bring awareness to some of the challenges in society and the goals that institutions and government and need to pursue. So these films can help indeed cause the necessary social change that is needed to help ensure that these sustainable development goals are achieved within the time span or the goal objective, the time objective that it has been set for. So yeah, it is indeed interesting. And yeah, of course, you're not just doing it after all the workshops and everything. If your film ends up being the best, you get the top prizes of whether 50,000, 30,000, or 20,000. That's just to encourage you to keep on, doing the good work of film or art in general. So I must admit, it's quite a good thing, and it's something that I applaud the bank for doing, because being a filmmaker myself, looking for funding to do a production becomes quite difficult. And so if this platform is available for people to just express themselves in one way or the other, it is indeed a good initiative. And I'm sure as they are doing this production, their talents will be unearthed, and those who are already gifted in it, they will see their gifts, and people, they are networking already. So that would even help them go further to do other exploits with their skill set. So that is really good. And the MD of the bank, Hakeem Uzani, did say something which I think is very important. It says that we have always believed in the power of art to carry our values powerfully. And that is amazing, and the value to, to support the arts. And that is amazing. And my prayer is that they keep on doing that from year to year without an end to that. So we also had African movie boxes business development manager Edwin Otta also saying something very crucial, that the bank is the first financial institution to rally support behind the creative arts space. And with this, I'm hoping and appealing that more institutions should get involved, because the ecosystem, the film space needs all the help that it can get. And the good thing about this film space is that when the monies start trooping in as a result of box office revenue, it will still go back to the same banks to be, to save, to keep the money in. So it is a good initiative by SG Bank, and I hope that other banks or other institutions, financial institutions, will get on board to support as well. So, I mean, let me know your thoughts with regards to this attention program, what you think of it, and the support these the SG Societe Generale are lending to these young, dynamic 25 filmmakers who will be selected to participate in this year's attention. Let me know your thoughts and leave them in the comment section below. So, it's amazing to have corporate funding and mentorship in building the ecosystem, because it's much needed. We keep talking about not having enough support, and this is one of them. And indeed, I am excited about it. So let me know what you think about these initiatives in supporting the, how crucial this is in supporting the black films the Black Star Films industry. And let me know and leave your comments in the section below. So today's story just summarizes from the Oscar multi-million-dollar, Oscar campaign for the Dwayne Johnson's Mark Kerr character in The Smashing Machine to the grassroots initiatives nurturing new talent in Ghana, and to the Oscar injury, into the superhero injuries and the essence of Gambit, that is Channing Tatum's character. So that's what we discussed today. And I'm grateful for you joining me for this episode, because finally it has come to an end. However, I'll be coming your way again with another exciting episode of the Film Mandate. And thank you so much. I really appreciate your presence and for this particular, episode. So I'll come your way tomorrow once again with another exciting episode. And my name is Papa Utu. I'll see you soon.